Thanks for joining me for this edition of the Church Security Answer Man. I'm so glad you're here. I want to talk about 5 issues that I think we need to discuss that are related to church security. So some of these may not be in your area. You may not feel like they're something that you have to deal with, but these are very much related to the health and welfare of the church, as far as I'm concerned, very much related to church security. So let's dive right into it. And by the way, I've got information for you at the end of this video that I want to share with you. So I hope you'll stick around for one of the final points of the 5, and then some other information that I think is very important. So let's jump right into the first thing that I want to discuss with you is the city of Dallas suing a church over an outdoor concert where there was a shooting. And this happened back in April. And in this incident, there's a couple things that are cited. One, there's a promoter who's been a promoter off and on for years that's using church property to conduct this concert. So the church is farming out their property kind of as a community event or whatever. I can't really answer it exactly why they were doing it, but they're letting this group use this and have a concert. Well, there's some things that happen. Apparently, the permits weren't quite acquired properly by this promoter. There was some other small little issues. There's also the issue of apparently they were supposed to have a whole bunch of security, and supposedly the security, which were off-duty officers, left quite a bit of time before the actual shooting occurred in this incident. So the last I read on this, the city of Dallas is actually suing the church as part of the issue. So it could cost the church big time. So I'm mentioning that to you because I think we have to pay attention to this stuff from a health and welfare perspective of the church. Besides the fact that it gives us a bad reputation, we could get fined. We could get caught. This could cost us a lot of money when we do things like this and invest, maybe open our spaces too much for community events and those kind of things without being really cautious. Second thing, a West Fort Collins Catholic Church was vandalized with pro-abortion rights messages. And, my body, my choice, spray painted on the side of the church. And I think we're definitely going to see an uptick in that kind of stuff coming up in the near future. And I just want to mention it, bring it to our attention, especially if we're not really thinking in those terms, whether you're a church leader or you're a security team leader. I think we got to be thinking about this stuff because I think as we get closer to this Supreme Court ruling and this message being released, if it stays the same as the leaked information says it is, then I think there could be more and more protests and heat related to being put upon the church, if you will. So I think we have to step up our security game and be thinking about this, especially if you're in more city-related downtown type churches, busier areas. We really have to be paying attention to this trend that I think is coming up. It's certainly the Catholic Church tends to be a target for this, but it could be other churches in our community. So I want to encourage you as a security leader that you're paying attention to the possibility of this kind of stuff, and certainly what can we do? We can up our game with patrolling around the church during our church services. But this kind of delves into cameras, getting some cameras going. And there's some pretty inexpensive cameras these days that can really help us with this mission, if you will, to maybe deter people in some cases if they see the cameras, or capture information that helps lead authorities to making arrests with these people, which provides news stories of these arrests and which has the tendency to deter people as well. Third one is I just want to call it to your attention that it was never really publicized, but in 2021, there were multiple churches in Canada that were both vandalized and burned. I've seen some reports that as many as 30 churches were burned in Canada. And so, you don't really see a widespread organization of reporting this. And that's some of the reports that I've read lately, are some people communicating to law enforcement organizations and asking them, why are they not investing more time in investigating these? Because there were a lot of them that happened during the year of 2021. So something for us to think about and make sure that you're aware that these kind of vandalisms and this kind of stuff is going on a little bit more, which leads me back to, we want cloud-based video systems that help us record perpetrators conducting this violence to where we can hopefully catch them, maybe deter them. But then if they do it, commit some sort of crime against our church, then we've got footage of them doing that. If it especially goes to the cloud where it's instantly recorded if the cameras get damaged or stolen, that kind of thing. Fourth thing, Knoxville church has 2 air conditioning units destroyed. And estimates are about $12,000. And this is a recent story. And, think about that, $12,000. And it can be a lot more. I've heard of stories where the people go in and steal the copper wire and pull it right from out of the building. They find access to get a hold of the wire, and now they start pulling it right out of the building. So in this case, the air conditioning units were vandalized, and and basically they've got to replace them. One's a more expensive unit from what I've read, and one's a smaller unit, but it's going to cost them about $12,000. And these are things that have been happening for a long time. Air conditioning, heat pumps, those kind of things have been stolen and vandalized, and the wire pulled from those connections to those devices. And I continue to say, it's a lot cheaper to spend one time putting in a chain link fence around those units, those air conditioner units or heat pumps that are outside of your buildings. Put up a fence, put up a chain link fence around those, make it to where people cannot get to it without a lock going through a gate to get into those areas. Much cheaper. It's not cheap, but it's much cheaper than having to replace thousands of dollars worth of air conditioner units or heat pumps or thousands of dollars of copper wiring and having to go in and rewire portions of your building. So think about these, do some research on those fences, because this is a trend that's been going on for years and it continues to happen. North Knoxville, the last one I want to talk to you about, North Knoxville church break-in. And here's where I'm a promoter of cameras, especially the blink systems, the rings, because they can record to the cloud for you. They catch an image, catch a video, somebody's face, and it records to the cloud for you to where even if that camera disappears or that portion of the church gets damaged or whatever the case is, we can still capture an image. And in this case, North Knoxville Church, there's a break-in that occurs. They got video of the suspect, the perpetrator, and he's trying to break in, can't get in. And then he successfully gets in. They have video of him walking around the church for like an hour and a half. And because he broke a window to get in, he's bleeding. And so there's all kinds of cleanup and mess and all of this stuff that has to be done. Because they had a video, they were in fact able to find out. They put the word out, put this video out, and they were able to figure out who the suspect was and get a warrant for him. So looking at these cameras, looking at what's going on, what are trends, I want to make sure that through this quick little video that we're discussing trends, what's happening to churches around our nation and even in Canada, and make sure that we're thinking about what could we do if that happens. Obviously, we're not going to have security 24 hours a day at our churches, but why not put up some videos at some specific important locations or put up a chain link fence to secure our air conditioners and heat pumps to where we know that's a trend of an issue. So why not secure those a little bit better? So that's a big deal. Links down in the description for the Ring and the Blink cameras that I'm talking about. But there's all kinds of those that you can take a look at. But I definitely recommend ones that record to the cloud, so it's sending the video somewhere else to hold it for you so that it's not being stored within your facility. So don't forget, as always, we've got so much information for you at the churchsecurityanswerman.com. please go over there and take a look. We got all kinds of links in the description and comments below. And leave us a comment. If you know of other events that have been occurring in your area, please leave us a comment and let us know what happened to your church so that we can see what kind of trends are going on in the area. And I'll do my best to answer or acknowledge what you send. Sometimes it takes a few days, but I will get back to you. So come over and see us on our hub. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you have a safe and secure week.